Giants fans, welcome back to Giants Latest. Today is basically going to be an update day because the Giants brought some players in from workouts. We have some roster moves and things like that, so we're going to discuss that. Then tomorrow and the rest of the week is focused on injury updates because the Giants take on the Niners, and we're going to talk about that. So let's get started with this. Malik Nabers did have his ACL tear surgery. It was successful, and he is hoping to be released from the hospital today, and then we'll get started on his rehab process. So as of right now, according to Ian Rappaport, both Malik Nabers and Cameron Scadaboo should be ready to go for week 1, which is so important. Jackson Dart in year 2. Hopefully we have a new coach and some other new people in the building by, September of next year, but having Scat and having Nabers back is going to make such a difference for Jackson Dart in year 2. So wishing them both a speedy recovery, especially Malik Nabers, who just had his done, and excited to see their rehab process and keep my fingers crossed that they are both ready to go for week 1. But I know some people were asking why it seems like it took so long for him to do the surgery, and apparently it was a swelling issue. So they were waiting until the swelling went down enough. And from what I also understand is sometimes with athletes, you can do pre-rehab. So you do some exercise and whatever to get ready for the surgery. And then that is supposed to help you recover faster. So there hasn't been 100% confirmation that that's what Malik was doing, but there's some speculation around that and the swelling, and that's why he waited to have the surgery. So anyway, the surgery is done. And again, speedy recovery to them both. Now, let's talk about this because the Giants went ahead and brought in some players for workouts today. So they brought in quarterback Jaren Hall. Now, in my opinion, this means nothing, but I want to talk about it because it was reported and I'm getting some questions about it. And from what I understand, according to Art Stapleton, because a few weeks ago when the Giants had other wide receivers in for a workout, they also brought in a quarterback. And supposedly the reason being for this is because the players have off on Tuesdays, so they're not going to bring in Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston or Jackson Dart to go ahead and throw to some random guys. So some of who they're probably not even going to sign. So they end up bringing in a quarterback too, just to throw and kind of go through the workout. So I know so many of us think that trading Russell Wilson would be in the benefit of everyone. And while I'm in that camp, I don't really see it happening. And I don't think that the Giants bringing in a quarterback for a workout means that any of the quarterbacks are getting traded. So I think it's just as simple as that. Like Art Stapleton said, they need someone to throw the ball to the wide receivers at the tryout. Next up, they brought in wide receiver Deontay Johnson for a workout. Now, if you do not remember what is going on with Deontay Johnson, I will enlighten you. So he was drafted in 2019 to the Steelers, and he was with the Steelers from 2019 to 2023. Had a very productive career for them, both as a wide receiver and on special teams. He had, again, quite a few touchdowns, had a lot of yardage, good receptions. He's a great athlete. A lot of things to like about Deontay Johnson. Again, great career with the Steelers, excuse me. In 2023, the Steelers go ahead and trade him to the Panthers. Now, he's with the Panthers for a little bit, and it sounds like there was some questionable situations, some maybe tension going on there. So they end up releasing him at the end of 2023. In 2024, he is on 3 different teams. He goes from the Panthers to the Ravens, and then to the Texans, and then back to the Ravens. And then in 2025, he gets picked up by the Browns, and now he's with the Giants. So, well, let me be clear. The Giants didn't sign him. He came in for a workout. So anyway, he's been all over. But the reason why his name is probably going to sound the most familiar is that in the first stint with the Ravens, when he got over there, he ended up getting suspended for a game because of conduct that was detrimental to the team. Now, I don't believe they ever ended up clarifying what that was, but obviously it's not great. So he goes to the Texans, doesn't really do anything there. The Ravens then pick him up while they're in the postseason in January. He's there for a few days, doesn't do much. They release him. The Browns go ahead and pick him up this summer and then release him just a few days ago, and nothing happened there. So the Giants brought him in for a workout. He is a talented wide receiver. I do think that he can bring something to the table, but I think if there are any questions or issues surrounding his personality, then that's not happening. So Maybe they just brought him in as an extra body. I don't know. They also brought in Jalen Johnson from the Chargers. So he was a UDFA after the 2024 draft. The Chargers picked him up. He played with them for a little bit, and then they ended up releasing him. So it sounds like he just came in for a workout, nothing specific there. And the Giants did make some roster moves, and it doesn't actually include any of those players. But I'd like to call them out just in case, if the Giants go ahead and sign someone, let's say on Friday or Saturday when the injury report and practice squad elevations, things like that, then you can look back and be like, okay, well, they brought him in for a workout this week. It makes sense, right? Okay, so next up, these are some of the roster moves that the Giants made. The first one is that they moved running back Cam Skattebo, our beloved Scat, over to the reserve list. So he is obviously out for the rest of the season. Very sad, wishing him a speedy recovery. And of course, we're going to miss him and the energy that he brings to this team. But I think the good news for Scat is that he's going to be in the building a lot. So even though he's not playing, I think it's still going to be beneficial for him and the team because he's still going to be around. Obviously, when he's not on the field on game day, different. But I think for everyone's sake, to have him in the building will be fun. Next up, they claimed cornerback Jarek Bernard-Converse off of waivers. Now, I don't believe that he was moved to the roster just yet. It just said that he was claimed off of waivers. So here's what you need to know about him. He's a cornerback and a safety. He played both positions at LSU, which he ended up transferring to in 2022. He was at Oklahoma State prior to that. He was there from 2018 to 2021. In 2023, he was drafted in the 6th round. He was the 204th pick overall by the Jets, and he was with the Jets for about a year before he ended up getting released. The Browns picked him up, released him, and then the Giants ended up bringing him in. From what I understand, he also has some special teams experience, and the reason that I want to call that out is because cornerback Art Green, who was playing on special teams when he got injured against the Eagles, is dealing with a hamstring injury. And we all know that if you have a hamstring injury on the Giants, you're probably not coming back just a week later. So this leads me to believe that Art Green is not going to be ready to go on Sunday against the Niners, which is why they brought in a cornerback that has special teams experience, as opposed to bringing in a player who is just a cornerback and only plays one side of the ball, like Cordell Flott, let's say. Now, I am disappointed they did not bring in anyone like Asante Samuel Jr. because we need a real cornerback, and maybe Bernard-Converse is that guy. But if the Jets released him, I don't feel so great about that. So we'll see what ends up happening with them. The Giants also made 2 other moves. They added linebacker Swayze Bozeman to the practice squad, and then they went ahead and released wide receiver Juice Wells. Now, if you all remember Juice Wells, he played for a year with Jackson Dart and Ole Miss and was a decent target for him, and he was a target a little bit for him in the summer when he was with the Giants, but he has not actually been elevated to the roster and played at all during the regular season. So that's where we're at with the Giants right now with all of these roster moves, but the Giants are taking on the Niners on Sunday, and we've got 2 teams now that are completely riddled with injuries. So we do not have a Brock Purdy update yet. We will talk about this tomorrow once those injury reports start to come out, because that's going to be really important for both teams. If you're the Niners, you want to know what's going on with Brock Purdy. George Kittle has been back, which is good for them, but I believe that they are still missing quite a few other players. So obviously some wide receivers there that are missing. Going to be very telling to see what happens on Wednesday. On the Giants side of things, we lost 4 players on Sunday during the Eagles. Now, we obviously know that Scat isn't coming back, but having an update on Cordell Flott is going to be really important. Having an update, again, like I said, on Art Green, who it sounds like might not be ready to go for Sunday. And Daniel Bellinger is also very important. He left the game with a neck injury, and Bellinger we so desperately need on this roster as a pass catcher on Sunday. So again, those injury updates are going to be important, and I am hoping that at the very least we have Cordell Flott back, because I know I'm personally worried about Bellinger because I think that he's one of the only reliable receivers on this team for Jackson Dart. But if we don't have Cordell Flott back and we don't have Paulson Adebo and Holland are the other 2 players that we really need a good update on today when that report comes out, because if we don't have Adebo and Flott, all I will say is prepare yourself, because this could get ugly, and it could get ugly quickly. Now, I hope I'm wrong about that. So in the meantime, let's all keep our fingers crossed that either Cordell Flott or Paulson Adebo, or both of them, if we get some magic streak of luck from the football gods, are both ready to go on Sunday, because I cannot handle another 60 minutes of Tay Banks. And if it's Tay Banks, the problem is we don't have Adebo or Flott. It's like Tay Banks and Corey Black. So again, everyone keep your fingers crossed that we get some good news from that injury report, and we will talk about it tomorrow. So make sure you subscribe for more.